Welcome down the rabbit hole, friends. We're here tonight to talk about Miranda Derrick and the new documentary called Dancing with the Devil. I'm just questioning, did the production company mean to send hundreds of thousands of people after the victims of the Shenectady church? We are talking about so many people all over social media shitting all over Miranda and James Derrick, as well as several other dancers who are part of 7M.
TikTok influencer Miranda Derrick has sparked confusion after she attended her sister's wedding, whilst her family claims she's apparently brainwashed by an alleged cult in the new controversial documentary Dancing for the Devil.
I hope you're having a wonderful day. I just wanted to hop on here really quick and first of all say thank you so much to everybody who's been so supportive during this time. In the next couple slides, I've included my statement of this documentary that's just been released. I can't go into too much detail because of legal purposes, but I just wanted to add my side of the story a little bit. Thank you so much for taking a read. Have a great day. Bye.
First and foremost, I didn't want to watch this documentary. It's about the TikTok dancers who allegedly might be in a cult with Robert Shin. I didn't want to watch it, but I did do a watch party for some subscribers and friends, and I left it on as I walked in and out of the room. So I did see a good portion of the documentary, and I have a lot to say about it. I've kept it like back. I haven't spoken out until now, and here's why I'm speaking out. Because I am literally seeing everyone everywhere, all over TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, and Reddit attacking Miranda Derrick. And I have never seen this as a consequence of this type of documentary. I'm not sure if they meant for it to be this way. I don't understand. They literally have sent hundreds of thousands of people after a victim of an alleged cult. They are shitting all over this woman, and I don't understand it. Okay, I just signed on to Reddit, and the first post that pops up on my board is all about Dancing with the Devil, Robert Shin, and Miranda Derrick, and this is what it says. It's titled, "Anyone else think Miranda's an asshole?" I just wanted to let you guys know that I have been all over social media, and the overall response is that people are angry with and disgusted by Miranda Derrick. And I find this incredibly offensive. I mean, wasn't the point of the documentary to out that these people are involved in a cult? If that's the case, why would you go after an alleged victim of Robert Shin and the cult? Okay, so this post is entitled, "Anyone else think Miranda's an asshole?" I was shocked to see this, and there are many other posts like this in the Reddit group called Dancing for the Devil. Let me read the post to you guys, and I will be putting this up as a video later where I will show all of the screenshots. But this is what the post says. Just like the title says, I think there's not enough dislike for her out there. She's not only weak-minded for being in a cult and not realizing it, she's totally gaslighting her family and her followers, telling everyone she's fine and she's not in a cult. It's 2024 and you have access to the internet. I don't accept any, I didn't know it was a cult BS with all the chances this bitch has been given to be pulled out. And honestly, it's probably for the clout. Is this what Tim Milgram and the entire production crew wanted to do with this documentary? Send people after victims of high-demand religious organizations? I've never seen this. I didn't see it with the Duggar documentary, Shiny Happy People. We didn't have people going after all of the Duggar girls. I mean, this is very unique, what's happened with this documentary.
I'm still upset after watching the documentary on Netflix today called Dancing for the Devil. It's about Miranda and James Derrick. They're that really cute couple that you see on all over TikTok for the last couple years, dancing with all the other young adults that they dance with. Well, little did we know they're in a cult. Quite a few of the young adults actually have gotten out, but Miranda's parents and sister, they're trying desperately to get her away from them.
I have also been all over Instagram and seen people going off, leaving horrible comments for Miranda and B-Dash. James Derrick, who's the husband of Miranda, people are saying horrible things about their marriage. They're saying that it's fake. They're bringing up the fact that James has a child from a prior relationship, a prior marriage, and they're going off about that. I have never seen anything like this before. The resounding response is total negativity to the people who were, looked at in this documentary as alleged victims of this cult. And I really have to question what the hell is going on here.
Hey everyone, so I worked on Dancing for the Devil, the 7M TikTok cult, and there's a lot of speculation.
Hello everyone, I'm just getting ready here for the day and wanted to say I am just overwhelmed with the love and support of the documentary. It's like crazy to me. I've loved reading all your messages and just thank you guys so much for reaching out. And I think my favorite messages have been,
I can tell you one thing, that some of the people who were involved in the production of this documentary are being sued by Miranda and Robert Shin, and they have a vested interest in putting out some really negative shit about these people and ensuring that the public goes up against them so that even if they win in court, they don't win in the court of public opinion. And that's wrong and unfair that they would use a documentary to manipulate us in this kind of way. Now, I'm not a fan of Robert Shin. Things that have come out about him, I have a lot of concerns about. When the documentary focused on what the Lee sisters went through, I had a lot of concerns about that. I follow the Lee sisters and I care about what happened to them. I care about what happened to a lot of people in the Shineki church, right? But the fact that they chose to focus on Miranda Derrick tells me, number one, people aren't going to like when I say this, but number one, it concerns me that instead of focusing on someone who had been in the church and really wanted to speak out and say their piece about what happened, they chose to focus on the whitest, most blonde, most, darling, good-looking girl that they could find who did not want to be a part of this documentary. They needed to put her face forward in order to get as many people to watch this documentary as possible, instead of focusing on real victims who wanted to have their voices heard. They had to start the first episode all about Miranda's Derrick, her face on the front of everything, and they also wanted to include her sister Melanie, right? So they wanted these very good-looking, young, hip girls to be up front and center so that they could bring in all these people to watch this documentary, and then they used it to break down these victims. I'm not sure, I want to say that that wasn't what they were trying to do, but that's what they've done. All over social media, people are shitting on Miranda Derrick. If you are not aware, I need to add something to the conversation about what's going on here, okay? Miranda has spoken out before about this, and I just think not enough people know. But Miranda has said, and I'm not arguing that she may be very involved in a high control group. She may have a lot of things going on that we don't want to see happen to anyone that we love or care about. I can understand some of that. But let's be honest about what happened here. Miranda has come forward and she said that before anything happened with Robert Shin or Shineki Church, she had a major disagreement with her sister Melanie, and it's a pretty big one. The two of them shared a hugely popular TikTok. It had over 1 million subscribers, and if you guys don't know what that means, it means cha-ching, money. Money, fame, power, endorsements, getting gifts from people so that, you can talk about them on your TikTok. It meant a lot to those sisters. They had it together, and actually Miranda started it, and then Melanie joined in, and it was called the Wilking Sisters or something, and it had a lot of followers. Well, guess what? All of a sudden, Melanie locked Miranda out of that account that meant money, fame, getting endorsements and things like that. Melanie locked her sister out, booted her out of it, and said, you're not a part of this anymore. And Miranda has come forward and said, this is what started her negative feelings towards her sister and her family, who seemingly lended a little bit more support to Melanie than Miranda. This is what started the problem for Miranda. So this documentary doesn't even really give you all the information you need to know about what happened. When I heard Miranda's side of the story years ago, I was basically like, you know, I understand that this caused a problem in Miranda's heart towards her family. She felt effed over by her sister and her parents. Okay? That's how she felt. And I think that that's normal. You know, what I was hearing was like a true blue family disagreement that could happen in a lot of families, but this was about business as well because they mixed business with their family. Her parents were very supportive of them making that TikTok account and becoming famous because I don't have any evidence of this, but I'm willing to bet that the parents benefited from it as well. Okay? And all of a sudden it's like, you don't get to have anything to do with that anymore, Miranda. You know, screw you, even though you were at least half of what was going on that account, you've lost your access to it. Now, I think anyone would feel frustrated with their family if that happened to them. It also coincides with, you know, her joining Shineki, her getting involved in this TikTok group, her getting involved in 7M. And I know that that had an effect on what was going on with her and her family. But I think there are multiple sides to the story here. What it comes down to is I cannot believe the way this documentary has operated towards sending these hundreds of thousands of people to shit on the victims of Robert Shin, if that's what's going on. Because there's a lot of questions up in the air. I don't believe Robert Shin is a very good person. I mean, we heard that he flat out has admitted to like sleeping around with a bunch of people and, you know, believing that he's a man of God, but not really walking the walk. We get it. Robert Shin equals bad. Like, okay. We can stomach that. We can understand. That doesn't mean that every single person around him in his orbit needs to be bullied and harassed until something drastic happens to them. I don't get it. You know, it's like, I just don't understand. I'm very passionate and angry about this, and I haven't spoken out because I don't want to go down the rabbit hole of like having to push back against specifically Without a Crystal Ball again. And I do believe she's the most toxic part of this entire story. I think that Melanie and her parents may not have reacted the way they did until they got involved with Without a Crystal Ball. Okay, so if you're not aware, a couple of years ago, long before the documentary started, Without a Crystal Ball, Katie Joy Paulson, she got involved in really hounding Miranda Derrick on social media. Katie Joy Paulson had met up with Melanie Wilking and her parents, and they had spoken about Miranda. And then Katie Joy just really exploded going after Miranda specifically. Even though Robert Shin was supposed to be the target, it drastically affected Miranda's ability to go out and get jobs and really sell herself online. And eventually Miranda responded back to Katie, and here's what she had to say. I believe this was about 2 years ago. Katie, I see the damage you've done to so many other publicly and behind the scenes. I'm going to fight for my life, James, my fellow creators and friends, my amazing management team, and yes, my family. Thank you to everyone who has supported us, Miranda. Okay, here's more, and they might be out of order, but I'm just going to read them this way. Miranda says, despite Katie Joy's attempt to divide my family, the Wilkings, we are working hard to reconcile. Yes, there are definitely some things I don't see eye to eye on with my parents, but it is what it is. After speaking to my mom yesterday, we definitely are still in disagreement, and we plan to meet next month when they come to town. We have a lot of issues to work through, but my desire is for us to arrive at a place where we can agree to disagree and allow there to be healthy boundaries in our relationship. On top of public family drama, I have to also deal with this outsider evil psycho KJ who is trying to insert herself into my life. I say, please free Miranda from this creepy lady. Katie is not a humanitarian. She is only interested in herself. Since she entered the picture, not just me, but my fellow creators at 7M, family members, and the brands we sponsor have been harassed. She is really good at tormenting people and has a long history of this. Check out YouTube and other social media pages to learn more about her. She has numerous victims that have dedicated their pages to take down this cyberbully, and that is 100% true. Katie, why do you keep perpetuating the dangerous lie that I'm being held hostage? The only person holding me hostage is you, Katie. To be fair, my family brought this nonsense upon James and I when they initially accepted Katie's help by engaging with her. Now, like a bad fungus infection, she will not go away. She is trying to create a fake content circus to garner more attention to herself. She believes that anyone that has faith in God is in a cult. With this mindset, she is taking advantage of Christians wrongly, understanding the saying, turn the other cheek, so she can bully Christians into submission through her one-sided hate campaign, where she goes on the offensive and doxes, digs up personal info, and puts her secret spin on everything, counting on them not fighting back. Well, that's not me, and I will fight back. I mean, for me, it's just crazy to read through this because I think it was shortly before this that Katie Joy has been credited with getting Miranda pushed off of a lot of jobs. And I think Miranda, you know, regardless of what's going on with 7M and Shineki Church and Robertson, has a right to be frustrated with this person focusing on her, making Miranda Derrick like the center of all these shenanigans, really putting her on blast, getting her family involved, going behind everyone's back and just blasting this all over the internet. I think Miranda has a right to be really frustrated with all of this. Now, I think Katie Joy's response would be that this is all Robert Shin, that Robert Shin wrote this post, that Robert Shin writes and does everything for Miranda, and I still haven't seen proof of that. But I do know that Miranda and Robert are both suing Katie Joy. But the point that I want to put out there is that everyone, we as a public, still have control over how we react to this documentary, to what Without a Crystal Ball is doing and saying. And instead of reacting like, okay, like we get it, this is really sad, or I'm sorry that this is happening, people are reacting like, F you, Miranda, we're coming after you, Derrick, let's take away all your money. I mean, I don't get it. Am I alone here? Because I don't get it. Okay, I can see the chat now. Truffle says, I don't get why Robert's getting all this flack. He's not doing anything that dozens of other preachers, pastors, and priests aren't doing. I agree with that. I agree with the fact that Robert seems like a lot of other shitty people in the world. That's what I agree with. I think he's done some shitty things, and I don't mind that, like, being on a documentary. I don't mind that being exposed. We can talk about it. One thing about this high demand religious organization, or cult as they're calling it, is that I didn't get any kind of feedback or information about what's happening with children here, because it looked to me like these are a bunch of adults who came to this church, like being an adult, knowing what's going on, and making a decision, mostly like adult decisions, to join this organization and be involved in it. And when you are in a situation where you're old enough to make a choice about what you're doing, it's not as concerning to me as when I see something like the Shiny Happy People documentary, in which we're looking at how children are indoctrinated into this religious experience, and there's a lot of abuse that goes on. So maybe there's some stuff going on with Shineki that, you know, wasn't uncovered in the documentary. I'm willing to concede that that's entirely possible, but I just don't see this as being at the level of what was going on with some of the other situations that we've looked at, okay? I'm not saying it's not concerning. I think it's concerning for sure, okay? But I'm angry to watch people go after specifically Miranda, but really any of them. But there are several other dancers that are being shit on all over social media. They've had to turn the comments off on their posts, and people are like, that's ridiculous. They're turning their comments off. You literally are telling them to go unalive themselves. What are they supposed to do? And does anyone care how hurtful it must be to Miranda to have her family? She has been singled out. I don't want to judge her parents, because I for sure know that if a time came where one of my children were involved in Chineki Church, I would have concerns. I would have concerns, and I would miss them, and I would want to be a part of their lives if I was being cut off. That would be a huge issue for me, and I would want to know that they're okay. I understand that. And yet, I don't think that any true victims advocate would come forward and tell this family to go out there and put their child all over the news and make sure that everybody knows what's going on with their child, so that the entire church could more surround your child, more surround Miranda, more pull her in, more ensure that she never leaves. Like, if this is really a cult, I would think that it was the exact opposite thing that I would want to do, you know, if I really wanted to help my child. Okay, I've stayed quiet about it for a long time because I get that these are very complicated issues. 110%, it's incredibly complicated. For one thing, Miranda's an adult and she can make her own choices. For another thing, her family really misses her and they don't feel that she's the Miranda she used to be. For another thing, people like Miranda have a really hard time finding a dancing career as an adult. It's incredibly hard to make that happen for yourself. And Miranda has made it happen. So there's the complication of, like, if she left 7M and Chineki, like, where would she go and dance next? You know, I mean, there's so many layers to what's going on here, and I get that. But now we've added a layer of singling out, like, the one white blonde, you know, young looking, like, incredibly talented woman that's part of this TikTok group, plastering her face everywhere, saying that she's a shell of herself, talking about what a bitch she is to her sister and her parents, and spreading that all over social media, and even having people go to her Instagram and, you know, say the most horrible things about her. And I don't understand. I don't get it. Are the people who were involved in the production of this happy with the outcome? Do they feel good about this? Like, that really bothers me. Ashley says the focus should be on the preacher. I agree. And what I think happened is they realized that not so many people were going to be interested in it if they focused on the people who were really the problem here, or even the people who are really the victims. Like, for example, they do talk about Melanie Lee and her sister who have been victimized, and I understand that. The point is that when it comes to, you know, focusing on Miranda instead of focusing on Robert Shin and the people who really wanted to be part of the documentary, like, the point of that was really to draw people in, manipulate them, and be like, look at this beautiful white blonde-haired girl, you know, let's take a look at her, and then we can draw you all in to what's going on with this documentary. And there's just something going on there that really bothers me. I'm going to take this live, like, pick it apart and make a video with it for you guys to take a look at. So please check in later. I'd love to hear what you have to say about this. I like to hear other people's opinions, but for me, I'm really taken aback. I'm really taken aback by what people are doing with this information that they've received about the documentary. Thanks to all of you. Much love to all of you. I hope you guys are having a great summer.